Edge of Fate is right around the corner, and my tiny brain is in overdrive theory crafting builds around the new exotics. And trust me, some of these are looking insane. I've been deep diving into all of the 3 new exotic armor pieces, and in this video, we're looking at one that turns your tangles into a powerful Beyblade. If you thought this was good before, think again. You're not ready what this exotic does to it. When you're done watching this video, I highly recommend watching this Solar Warlock build, and this one is just me theory crafting on the new exotic for it. I'm having so much fun putting these builds together, and if you want to see more, make sure you're subscribed. Thank you all so much for the support, and let's head to the Strand Hunter Tangle Melee build. The new exotic that's coming out in the Edge of Fate is called Moirai, and here's what it does. The armor perk is Web Catcher. Threaded Spike can now bounce to tangles, detonating them and returning immediately. Tangles detonated by Threaded Spike are rewoven and retrieved by it. Catches without a tangle will give you extra melee energy. So your main goal for this exotic armor piece is to hit your tangles with your Threaded Spike. But let's just say your Threaded Spike didn't get a chance to hit the tangles. Don't worry, you'll get melee energy back. There are going to be seasonal artifact mods that would help us generate even more elemental pickups, aka we're going to be pooping out more tangles. But overall, when it comes to spawning in this elemental pickup, in order for you to do that, you're going to have to apply any of these debuffs. The Strand debuffs are going to be Unravel, Suspend, and Sever. To make your tangles even more better, you're going to want to put this aspect called Whirling Maelstrom, because when you destroy a tangle, it will create a violent withering mass of strand fibers, aka it would create a Beyblade. Beyblade, let it rip. And as the Beyblade were to hit the enemies, it would create these unraveling projectiles when they are defeated. And there is a cooldown between spawning in these tangles, but you can basically poop out 2 or more on the battlefield. If you didn't know, for this build, I am choosing to put Grapple because of 2 things. One, because of the Grapple melee, because if you were to hit an enemy with your Grapple melee, you will unravel them. And as the Beyblade is damaging enemies on the battlefield, you can use that Beyblade as a grapple point. And if you didn't know, if you were to use a grapple point, it wouldn't consume your grenade. So you can basically infinitely cast your grapple onto the Whirling Maelstrom infinitely until it disappears. And in this build, we are going to be getting 2 grenade charges because of this other aspect called Widow's Silk. It also enhances your grapple grenade even further, so it would now create a grapple point whenever you were to activate your grapple. And if your allies are using a grapple as well, they can use the grapple point too to give themselves infinite amounts of grapple. So that's why I chose to put grapple, just because of the infinite ways to get yourself grapple melees a lot. For your class ability, be sure to go for Gambler's Dodge, because I do think when the Edge of Fate drops, it is not going to grant your melee 100%. It's going to give you some, but not all. So that's why for the stats, I am focusing on the class ability, because it will reduce your class ability cooldown, and it would also increase the amount of class ability energy provided by all sources. And also too, if you were to reach beyond the threshold for 100 stats, so if you were like at 101 or 110, etc., as long as you're higher than 100, you're also going to be getting an overshield whenever you were to activate your class ability. So maybe that's why Bungie decided to nerf the Gambler's Dodge for the Hunter. So by getting 200 stats within your class stat, that is going to be very broken. But I can see why they did nerf it. But come on, dude, Hunters need a buff. Titans are extremely overpowered right now. Hunters need some love. And that's coming from a Titan main. And the only melee that there is for this build is Threaded Spike, and you're going to be using this to pop those tangles to 1, create those Beyblades, and 2, get you woven mail. And also a little bit of melee energy if you don't hit those tangles. This melee ability will also sever targets, and if you didn't know what sever does, the enemies will deal less damage to you by 40%. You could also catch this melee ability. You got to pay attention to the noise, or you can look at the bottom left of your melee ability. That's your indicator of letting you know when to activate your melee ability again to grant you that more of a melee energy back. For the fragments, there's going to be 4 in total. 3 of them are necessary, and the 4th and final one is optional. The first one is Thread of Warding. Picking up an Orb of Power will grant you Woven Mail. This will give you a 45% damage resist for 5 seconds. The second fragment increases the duration for your strand debuffs, such as Suspend, Unravel, and Sever, and it's called Thread of Continuity. And again, for this build, we're mostly going to be unraveling and severing targets. The third fragment I went with is Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. Even though we're going to be be getting multiple sources that would give us infinite amounts of grapple, but still, I want more grenade energy. A fourth and final fragment is optional. You can change this one off if you like. I went with Thread of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon and grants bonus airborne effectiveness and handling for a short time. I put this for the exotic weapon we're using for this build, and what's really cool is that you can freely choose any strand exotic weapon you like. And in this build, I wanted to try out this strand sidearm called the Final Warning because of the catalyst. But first, let me show you guys what it does. The intrinsic trait is called All at Once. While holding down the trigger, it would mark the enemy within range and loads multiple bullets, which fires in a burst with increased stability on trigger release. Hitting a marked target with a fully charged burst will unravel them. So you can do this two ways. The perk is called Pick Your Poison. This will allow you to either hip fire or ADS. So for the hip firing, your projectiles will track marked targets, dealing increased body shot damage on impact. And while you ADS, your projectiles have greatly increased velocity and deal extra critical hit damage to marked targets. So basically, as what the perk says, pick your poison. The catalyst really helps with this sidearm because it would, one, increase the damage, and the best part is that it would have a chance to refund ammo to the magazine. So it would give you a 25% chance to refund ammo to your magazine. Because this has 20 shots within the mag, so that's why I decided to put Thread of Ascent, so we don't have to worry about reloading. Alright, let me show you guys the seasonal artifacts that I think is going to be extremely good for this build. So they are going to be combining two weapon archetypes to be able to stun certain champions. And for this one in particular, there is Unstoppable Sidearm and Unstoppable Hand Cannon. So if you were to equip this, you're now going to be stunning unstoppable champions. The next artifact is called Tightly Woven. While Woven Mail is active, gain increased super and grenade stat. And we are going to be getting Woven Mail 100% of the time because we are running Thread of Warding. As long as we pick up an Orb of Power, we'll be getting Woven Mail a lot. The next artifact perk is called Threaded Blast. This one came out a couple seasons ago, I think when Lightfall came out, but destroying a tangle with strand damage increases the radius of the explosion and its damage. So that could be your weapons or your abilities. And in this build, we're going to be needing to use our Threaded Spike to hit those tangles. So now, whenever you pop a tingle with your Threaded Spike, the tingle is going to go boom, even bigger, and it's going to spawn in the Beyblades. The next artifact perk is called Elemental Coalescence. Defeating targets have a chance to create an elemental pickup matching your equipped super. So this one could be your abilities and with any strand weapon you are using. The next artifact perk is Elemental Overdrive. Picking up an elemental pickup or a tangle grants increased damage to weapons of the same element. The final artifact perk that matches with this build is called Tangled Web. Creating a tangle by defeating a strand debuff target suspends nearby combatants. And again, the strand debuffs are Unravel, Suspend, and Sever. So with the Final Warning, it already inflicts unraveling rounds for those marked targets, and if you were to kill them, it would spawn in that tangle, and it would now suspend nearby enemies, which is pretty awesome. And that's why we have this fragment, which is Thread of Continuity, to increase the duration for Suspend. I was having so much fun theory crafting builds on these new exotic armor pieces, and if you'd like to see this on the Titan, be sure to hit that like button. I do also stream Destiny 2 over on Twitch and Kick. I do a bunch of helps, or if you just want to hang out and chat, come on over.